we get out and we see this dump and we see this community of people living there, and they make their living sifting through other people's garbage to find something to eat, find some recyclables. I mean, and kids are raised right there at the dump, and it smells bad. What happened in you? What did you notice as you took all that in?
I was angry. And I think I was angry because of where we'd started the day. Addis is this city that is rapidly developing, and there's parts of it that are beautiful. Our hotel was beautiful. So much else that's in the city center is beautiful.
Oh yeah.
And then you go, you get a little off the beaten path, it gets a little worse. And then you got there, I was mad, Righteous anger is a term I've used a lot since then. And a term I never understood before that day. But just the city is doing so much to lift itself up. But it just seems like, yes, but how many hundreds of thousands, if not millions, are you leaving behind? I just forgot.
I remember driving through the middle of the city, and they're building a brand new soccer complex. I mean, massive structures. And then we get to this community, and it literally is like a war zone with
Sure.
people living with nothing.
And not only that the city seem like it appears that Ethiopia is not doing much about it, but they also tried to push them out several times, right?
Mm-hmm.
To where, hey, we don't want this to be part of our city. Let's get them out to the limits.
Right.
Yeah. And I think this is what I keep going back to as well. There's poverty everywhere. And you've heard me say this before. There's poverty everywhere. But to that limit, we don't have that poverty.
No.
Here.
Less than $2 a day is extreme.
Less than $2 a day, yeah. And you can, it doesn't take very much to see that there are agencies and ways that our government and communities here can come around and help people in need. We have multiple food pantries just in our little community. And yet there's in extreme poverty, they have absolutely none of that. They live every day knowing that the government will not help. There's no food pantries, there's nothing. And so they literally have to wake up every day thinking, how am I going to feed my family? How am I going to make money to buy food? It's survival. And I remember feeling like, okay, if the government's not doing anything, if they can't, if they live every day knowing they're not going to get any help, this is on us. The church must stand up. We have to do something. Now that I know, I can't not do something. I remember feeling that way. And yet, it's such a big problem that I'm thinking I'm one person. And how do you make a dent in it? So yeah, I was mad, and yet, it felt like when I stepped off the bus, I felt just punched in the gut. There were times you see kids still smiling, running around, being kids, right?
Sure.
And it's just what do you say? What do you do? I just had to sit in it for that afternoon that we were there.
Yeah.
You just had to sit in it.
Well, I remember going back for a kind of a debriefing that night, and again trying to process through this, and I couldn't get through it without crying.
I couldn't either.
I was so mad, and I remember Dick Alexander saying, as men, sometimes we often think it's not okay to cry, but it really shows how moved you were. And I don't remember if I even said it, but I remember at the time what I was thinking was, I don't care that I cried. I'm proud in a way that I cried. Mm-hmm. I just would like to get a full thought out before it starts.
Yeah. I remember talking with Anisha that night, and she was asking me about my day, and I just had to tell her, I can't talk about it right now. I can't get a single word out without crying. And so I'm just going to have to tell you about it later.
Mm-hmm.
My mind is so raw right now. Yeah.
had a similar feeling. Just, I think it was after we had kind of walked that path. We were walking away from the dump. I'm just, you can't unsee what we just saw, and the way the kids were just drawn to you.
Yeah.
What do you? It's like, what do you do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All you really had to offer them was, yeah, I'll take a selfie with you.
Yeah.
They love that.
Yeah.
What do you really give them? I don't remember the names of the folks I visited that first day, but I remember the pride they had in welcoming you in.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously what they had there wasn't much. You know, what were those things? What was most stuff made of? Like corrugated tin and mud? I don't know.
Yeah.
But just the pride, because there's hospitality matters so much, and it's like, no, you're going to come into my home. I'm going to welcome you into my home and make you feel at home. I tried to stand up the first place; they would not let me. You were going to sit down as nicely as possible.
Please sit.
Yes.
I'm like, where?
Right.
You won't be sit.
Yes, but we'll find a place. We'll put you on the arm.
I remember multiple times when we would visit one of the shanties. I mean, they were always so happy to have visitors.
Yes.
And I just think, in our culture, we don't want people showing up unannounced, right? But there's like, oh yeah, come and look. Yeah, this bed, I also use it as my chair. Or,
yeah.
Let me pull out this little shoebox that you can use as a chair. Please sit down. And yeah.
And the first house we went in was of a woman who was missing most of both of her legs, and I think one of her hands. And they were asking us to pray in each house, and we were kind of taking turns, the various folks there. And I remember somebody else was praying in that first house, and I was so glad because I couldn't get through it without crying. I think it was Debbie, yeah. I knew like that, I'm like, I'm gonna need 2 or 3 houses, and then a couple houses later, I was the one praying.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I loved about praying in that situation, I still was very moved, but I kind of gathered myself a little bit. But Indala would translate line by line. I'd say something, I'd get a break. And that was good because one, I needed that to kind of gather my emotions. But also, I think sometimes we rush through that too much. So I really, I was like, I was even kind of in my mind praying, okay, thank you, God, for this. I'm able to kind of gather my thoughts each time for the next one. And it was, I don't know, it just, that was very moving for me. I just felt like that was even God saying, I'll get you through it.
Yeah.
You don't know how, but I will. Oh, it definitely becomes more real as you see it. And the fact that we stayed where we did, that was, in a nicer suburban area, and then you kind of got to see it go a bit downhill as you went. And really, that going to the first school that day, where kind of the headquarters is, that we're driving down this just rutted mud alley, as I recall. And then you pull up to this gate and go through it, and here it is. Here's where the magic happens. And it really did feel magical as you went through that gate as well. What they've created there. It's really amazing. It's really seeing those kids.
Mm-hmm.
We go through that blue gate, and there's already this group of, I don't know, several dozen kids.
Yeah, at least.
Dancing, singing.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea what they're saying, but I feel what they're saying. There's just such joy. I mean, I was crying as it happened. I was taking video, but then at the point I had to stop because they're coming over to put those leis around you, and that was just such an amazing moment. I'm just trying to soak it in, trying to gather my thoughts, and it's like, don't even worry about it. Just live for a moment.
Yeah, like they were just there celebrating the fact that we had come to see them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And with I remember specifically, as soon as the door of the van opened, you hear the beat of the drum.
Yeah.
Like the, typical African drum, whatever. And then the kids singing in Swahili.
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Yeah.
So we have no idea what they're saying.
Right.
But like you said, you know exactly what they're saying.
Yeah.
It was like the most welcomed I've ever felt.
And loved. To be that loved that far away from home. It didn't matter. It didn't matter that we were the only white people there. We were there for them. We were their honored guests. And just what a Christ-like way to welcome somebody. I felt so honored in that moment.
I remember feeling humbled. You know, once like, you're doing this for me. You know?
Yeah. Why?
Why?
Their joy is like beyond joy, but I feel like I've seen here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, you know, whenever I visit somewhere new, it just further ingrains in me, like, you know, the idea of like eternity is going to be so much more than we think it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the music, you just think of the creativity of God. And you saw a little glimpse of that as you walk into the school, right? You know, those little voices just singing out the verses that they had memorized, the Jesus songs that they were singing.
And then the one girl standing up in a class full of 40, right? And all of us up front, you know, 15 of us up front, standing there talking to the classroom. She's so strong in her faith as she stands up and confident to sing that song.
Yeah.
It's the most beautiful voice I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Change my life and make it new, and help me, Lord, to live for you.
So like the two different lenses, you walk into a shanty, you meet this person or family, and like in one lens it's so sad, right? And you just like, it just tears you up inside. But then you put on the other lens and you see what Mohi's doing, and you see these people feel empowered. You see them proud about having you in their home. You see them proud about what they're doing with their business. You see them proud that they're sending their kid to school. You know, so for me, it's like this hard, like, it's hard for me to wear the first lens. I want to wear the second lens, you know?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
When talking about what Mohi's doing, I think the thing that I came away with, and I've had the chance to talk to a number of people in groups even since we got back, is that model Mohi has, where they say, you know, we're going to educate kids, we're going to bring economic empowerment, we're going to make the community healthier, and we're going to show them Jesus. And they always put it in that order. I may not have gotten all the words right, but it's in more or less that order. And I love that, because I think you're most effective telling people about Jesus if you've already shown them Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're showing Jesus through their actions in so many ways. And that's beautiful to me.
Yeah.
I think that goes back to, if you remember, during one of our sessions, they said that Muslim families are opening their arms wide, saying, yes, come, because they've seen how they care for their kids, they've seen the economic empowerment, they've seen the health care. And so obviously they're saying, like, if this is what you're doing for our neighborhood, for our community, we are open.
Come there. Not just in the schools in Kenya either. In the communities, there was hope too. Because I remember the slum communities came to be known as before Mohi and after Mohi.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Like how much it did for not just the kids, but it gave the community hope too.